recording.
Okay.
Okay, so let's resume where you were at, and
Okay.
then we'll pick up task 2.
All right. So I think all right. So I was talking about task 1. So Amanda's task 1. I think I covered the first section. You did include at least 3 resources. So your strengths. You include sufficient information regarding your members, their role, strengths, and other pertinent information. It was evident that you led a meeting with the PLC team for the vision and the purpose. And you stated that an email was sent, which was the basic technology part of the rubric. And then weaknesses, the only thing, let's see, I saw that you might want to add an artifact to the appendices section about your digital invitation, an email, just a and then I'm not very good with APA again. So I kind of got some other things from other people, but tables and artifacts.
I put the references at the very, very end of that like 20-page paper. They were there, but I didn't realize that I should put them like directly after the task. That's obviously something like we all learned. Like now we've been 3 weeks out, so I changed that every week and just put it directly behind the task. And I actually started, I reading in some of y'all's, I noticed that you were just putting the task that we were doing into your paper. So I started doing that too to make it a little easier for you and for me, because it's kind of hard to navigate 30 pages and stuff.
Right.
So those tips were really helpful for me.
Awesome. And I used it as well for mine. Let's see. And then, the references, you just stated that. And then it might be beneficial to add a table or a chart to visualize the data that you described in your research section from the past 3 years. And then I felt that you demonstrated leadership as, I guess, your role in the PLC, and you discussed that purpose with your administration, not just looking at your graduate course, but actually implement a change in those reading levels in grades 3 through 5. It was obvious that you followed the directions of the prompts. You were very thorough in the PLC section paragraph, and that was including the strengths of your team members, which aligns to the rubric. Again, I am not really good at writing, but it's just a few things that I picked up on, just a few things here and there, mechanics and grammar. Headings were instructed just like they were supposed to be, and minimal APA citation mistakes. So I thought it was really very well written. So good job on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I use all of those. Those were really helpful because just like you guys, like there were little things that I didn't even think that I would have even picked up on that you guys put in there, and then I went back and fixed them.
Awesome.
Okay. Oh, so I guess it's my turn to share task 2. Let me see here. Share.
And I was gonna say, I think if we wanted to save a little bit on time, I was looking. I printed some out as well. I think we really only have to talk about the ones that have the little thing beside of them.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at too. Like if we basically notice some areas that maybe we need to add to ours, areas of weaknesses, maybe we can kind of just capitalize on those, because based on what I'm just listening, it seems like all of us notice all the points. Everybody seemed to notice all the same points.
Right.
And so it looks like we're all using the information very helpful. So maybe we can just focus on those areas of weaknesses.
Okay. Shakia, this is for task 2.
Lordy.
Let's see here. You did a great job aligning content with what you've been doing in your PLC. You described your data collection process. I like that each member was responsible for a portion of the data that you delegated. That's a huge part of leadership that I learned every day, because I'm one of those people who's like, I can just do it quick myself, but it really is more effective when you delegate the task. Then everybody has a little bit different kind of buy-in to what you're doing. And I felt like it was easier for you guys to work with the data as a team because you had kind of delegated that work out to everybody. Let's see, you're under the weaknesses. Whoop. Oh, what's going on? It won't go up. Maybe. Okay. The only area of weakness based upon rubric requirements that could strengthen the argument would be to provide more of a focus on the specific path from ELA concerns to ESL student concerns.
Yes.
While reading the paper, I felt that the focus of need could have been several different areas based on the data provided. And there are obvious needs in other areas that jumped out to me based on the data rather than ESL students. So it just kind of left me thinking like, oh, I wonder how she got to that point of thinking like this is a subgroup that I should focus on. Does that make sense? I think when I was writing it, I was like, I'm not sure that I'm being clear because.
No, it was the same way for me. I was wondering, how did I get from math and ELA all the way down to ESC or ELL? I don't know how I got that. I think it was more of kind of a push from my PLC member who is an ESOL teacher. She just kept talking about how they always don't get a lot of help just because their language barrier, and it's always a push on their language barrier. So,
sure. So I would just include that in your paper. I'm sure you probably already have and turned it in and all that good stuff. But I would just include that because obviously when you have, that's what I was talking about earlier about having a wide range of perspectives. When you have somebody, like I was saying, like my heart is with EC, even though I don't work in EC anymore. So I feel like sometimes my perspective kind of leans towards supporting that group, and because that's where my heart is. And so everybody has different perspectives that kind of push the PLC in different directions. So just including like, this is kind of how it went down and how I ended up going from here to here. It's a great subgroup to work with. So I think that, it's a really good thing for you guys to be focused on. I was just kind of curious how you went from there to there. Overall leadership, you showed a lot of leadership in the way that you collected the data, delegated to other people, different jobs. I really like that. You were one of the only, I try to read a couple of people's papers outside of what I have to, just to see kind of where everybody's at. And you were one of the only people that I noticed, like delegated workout. I'm required to do that. So I don't get a choice in that, but I really like that you kind of took that upon yourself. It's a good show of leadership.
It's hard because I don't like delegating because I like to do it myself, because if something happens and it doesn't get done, then it falls back on me.
Right.
But I was told if I'm going to be a leader and be successful and be effective, then I would probably have to delegate and let people that have strengths in those areas take over those.
That's totally true. And I find, especially this year, because the principal that is new to us this year is really big on that. I find that the more that I've done it over the past couple months, the more comfortable I am with it, because I've seen really good success from delegating and then everybody coming back together. And it's a lot less stressful on me in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Really good job overall on task 2. Let me see here. Share. Trying to remember which one is task 2. No, not that one. Sorry, guys. Yay. Okay. My other peer review was for Jessica. You did a great job aligning everything from what we've been learning in class to your paper. It was familiar that you're very used to desegregating data and the collaborative processes. Obviously, I could tell reading your paper that you're kind of in the same position as me, in the sense that part of your job is to work in PLCs and to segregate data. That's also like every graph that I had in mind was something that I'd already made because it's part of my job. So I could tell in your paper you're really comfortable with that. You did a really good job of describing how you collected your data. All of your graphs were really neat and easy to read and understand. See here. For rubric weakness, the only area of weakness based upon rubric requirements that could strengthen the argument that intermediate math students skewed overall data would be if there was 1 or 2 graphs that just nailed down the differences between the Algebra 1 class and the intermediate math class. Because I noticed that you kind of had that point in your argument, but then when I was reading your thing, I was wondering from like a data-minded perspective, when you're looking at these a lot, I was wondering, like, I wonder what this would look like if we pulled that other data out and see, like, how much is that really skewing the data overall. I don't know if you even have the possibility to do that, but I just thought it may strengthen your argument if it was possible.
It was the crazy thing was I had that graph and I just totally forgot to add it in because we have to do it for a data conference, and so
Right.
When you said that, I'm like, well, wow. I mean, that would be very powerful. I don't know why I don't have that in there, and then I just went and cut and pasted it, and I was like, that's great. So thank you.
Awesome. Absolutely. I thought it was really polished and professionally written. I didn't really see any evident errors. You did a great job of using the correct person as far as the way you were speaking. Overall, I thought you did a really great job. Okay. Who's next?
I think Brittany's next.
Yes, I will go ahead.
Ouch.
Oops. We cannot start screen share or other.
Yeah, that's what mine says. So
Hang on, I'm trying to figure out. Okay, stop sharing. There we go. Sorry.
Okay. All
We'll
right.
get this down. Next time we're going to be pros.
My first one, we're going to start with Jessica. I'm just going to kind of piggyback off of what Amanda said. Your content was aligned with the course content. Each task was clearly outlined, and the candidate you referenced and documented the use of external sources when necessary. It was like easier for me to do the rubric strengths and break down the sections and kind of just comment based on each section. So for the data collection strategies, you included information regarding the process of collecting information, and you use various sources, the DRC, Enrich, and Strategic Plan. Your criteria and process for identifying the most pressing need. You analyzed and noted the historical data. The candidate identified the most pressing need based on that data. Collaborative data analysis. You use data to look at the subgroups for the most pressing need. For the most pressing need, you reiterated the most pressing need, and with the help of your PLC team, you discussed teaching strategies for Algebra 1, and you also discussed how to group the students. In regards to the data presentation, you provided charts and graphs to present information, and each figure and table is explained, has a description, and you and your team discussed the data trends. In regards to weakness, I just said maybe consider adding more details explaining why you chose to focus on intermediate algebra courses in addition to the admin team suggesting that subject. In regards to the data analysis section, maybe overall findings or trends that you kind of noticed. Because usually we put overall and they kind of explain them more specifically in other sections. So that's what I saw in a lot of others too. And then at the end, I just said, consider providing a copy of the presentation or meeting agenda in the appendix section to demonstrate above a proficiency rating. So I noticed, like, when I submit mine, he'll say, make sure you include a copy of your agenda or minutes. So I just kind of threw that out there too, like, maybe we can all just do it. So that's one less thing you kind of have to worry about. In regards to leadership, you used a variety of sources to obtain data. You provide opportunities for your team members to provide input, like with the teaching strategies, and you work with the team members again to analyze the trends and data. The narrative was professionally written, easy to follow, very few errors. So you did a really good job with task 2. Like Amanda said, we can tell you're a math person by your graphs.
Definitely my writing too.
All right, and then let's see if I can find the second one. I hope this is the right thing. Nope, it's not. It's the one that I just did. Let me try it again. Here we go. And my second one is for Amanda. As far as the content, it's aligned with the course content. Each task is clearly detailed and outlined, and you referenced and documented the use of external sources when necessary. In regards to the data collection strategies, you included detailed information regarding the process of collecting information from your various sources. You had the M-CLASS, the DIBELS, the NWEA, EOG, and a couple others that you also included. In regards to criteria and process for identifying the most pressing need, you met with multiple individuals to gather testing data, and you provided the PLC team members with copies of the internal results review. I thought that was a good delegation to give that out so they could have a copy of that. In regards to collaborative data analysis, you work with your PLC team to analyze and reflect on the data provided, and you represented the data visually for the team members. Most pressing need, the candidate with the help of a PLC team and master principal work together to decide on the area need for your school. You also explain your reason for selected reading for grades 3 through 5, and you also included a plan of action to help support the teachers, which I thought was a really good thing to also include, because our teachers need to be supported when we are addressing these areas of need. Data presentation, you provided charts and graphs to present information. Each table and figure is explained. The only weakness that I really saw was just including a copy of the presentation or meeting agenda at the end of your appendix section. In regards to leadership, you used outside sources to obtain the data. You provide opportunities for the team members to provide input in decision making, like when you guys discuss your most pressing need, and you work with the team members to disaggregate data. Your narrative was professionally written and easy to read. The only thing that I noted, like I said, were maybe the acronyms being identified, but other than that, it flowed in a logical sequence. It was very easy to read.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. All right.
I think I'm next if I can find what I'm looking for. Yeah, this is not
In
mine.
the interest of being mindful of time, we only have, I'm gonna guess, about 10 minutes left
Okay.
before we have to wrap up with that hour. So just wanted to throw that out there so everybody's aware.
Okay, so I guess I'm just gonna kind of because we've all kind of read these, so I'll just kind of focus on weaknesses since we are kind of limited to time. This is for Amanda. I'm trying to see, like, pick up some of the different things. Overall, everything was good. I think the only thing that stood out for me was I noticed a lot of it was 2017 to 2018. I don't know if you can go back to 2016. I didn't really want to use all those years, but I saw a significance in going back that far because I know Dr. Lamb talked about 3 years. So
I did, let's see, I did the BOG data for the past 3 years. And because that's really the only state test that's required that I can have a beginning and end data point for, because we don't use BOG for any other grades that I'm kind of focused on. But I thought, like, the DIBELS and TRC I went back on, but the MAP testing, the way that the reports are run, it is insane. And you have to, like, cut so many pieces out just to be able to kind of focus on one little thing, that we started doing it and then we were like, this is going to take us a week. So we kind of scrapped it.
And when you identified your pressing need, one thing that I thought stood out was the fact that you not only took in the data, but you took in how teachers impacted the test. Like, I noticed you were talking about how teachers changed and moved from different levels. And a lot of people forget all about that. And they focus so much on, okay, this is what we have, this is who passed. And they don't understand there's other aspects that can affect the actual outcome. So I really like that. And then because we're all in different schools, I was just maybe suggest, I know what NWEA is because I use it myself, but I was lost with M-CLASS.
It's an elementary, that's why.
I thought maybe that might be something that I just
it is a reading measurement that's used 3 times a year for kids in kindergarten through 3rd grade only.
Okay.
So it's actually like a pretty important part. It's required by the state of North Carolina for all elementary schools. So unless you worked in elementary school, you would probably not have any idea what it is. But M-Class is actually the name of it.
Okay.
It's not like an acronym for anything. It's just
Okay. See, and that was the only other thing. And then my other one was for Brittany. As well, your writing is so amazing. It's so easy. It flows. It's so easy to read. It's so easy to find things. I'm like, every time she puts it up, I'm like, oh, let me check and see if she put something I can have in mine and make mine work as well.
Well, the good news is she puts them up a week early. So
I know. I'm like, oh, yay, Brittany put hers up. Let me check. Let me add. Let me look. I'm always doing that.
Well, thank you.
So
that's standard.
I like how you used from 2015 to 2017. You had a lot of graphs parts were really good. Ready and math, colorful, which is really big. A lot of people forget that color makes things stand out. So I like the fact that you did have a lot.
I'm a pre-K teacher. I use the color.
And I didn't even think that. Most people look at my room and they're like, "Oh, you got to be an elementary teacher." No, I'm a middle school teacher. And my babies will be saying, "I can't see that," and I'm like, "I'm not going through that with you." Let's see, leadership, the risk benefits of focusing on math versus focusing on reading. It allowed the team a whole to come with an agreement. I like how you put that together. And you just had like a flow of how your PLC, the meeting just ran. It just flowed very well. And that was good leadership because you kind of had it all set up. So nobody got off task. Everybody was all on the same time. I don't know if I had any weaknesses because it's hard to find a weakness. I noticed that it was a lot kind of reference to the school plan. So I didn't know if it was more on the school plan or was it something that was additional. So maybe clarifying what you probably already kind of clarified. So that was the only thing that I noticed. Everything else was well written. Like I said, I always look for yours and say, "Ooh, maybe I can add this."
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was mine. Oh, I figured it out. Yes.
All right, let's see. All right. So the first one I pulled up was Shakia's, and let's see. I'll kind of go down and look at a couple strengths and a couple weaknesses. I kind of used what you did.
It was easier.
Yes, it was so much easier. And so, but I didn't put something under each of them. I just kind of like tried to figure out which ones were more like the strengths and which ones I could find something that, you know, could be tweaked. So data collection, collaborative data analysis, and data presentation were strengths for you. You used information from WIDA, South Carolina, PASS, and SC Ready. Let's see, under collaborative data analysis, you did a great job explaining and evidencing how, what and how the information was presented. And I quoted what you said. It was presented on a smart touch board via Active Inspire, and you uploaded it into Microsoft Teams, which is always awesome, and put it in your appendix. Let's see, it was, all your data was easy to read, and you put various charts, bar graphs, and pie charts. I love the fact that you like represented your data in multiple ways. I didn't really do that. That was awesome. And you looked at the past 3 years and compared different scores from both those tests, which was awesome. And then the only thing, or I guess the thing that stood out to me was something that Dr. Lamb said about not categorizing all Hispanic students, which I know your administrator, I think, had stated that. Yeah. And so that's hard when it comes from the admin to then be like, okay, do I say what the admin says or not? So
we figured out after looking at the target students, they're not all Hispanic. We ended up changing it to ELL because we had a variety of students.
That's awesome. That's awesome. But yeah, no, he mentioned that to me too, because I was looking at some of my subgroups. Dr. Lamb is my coach. And so when he visited me, I was talking to him about that. And that's one thing he mentioned to me as well. So,
good.
Let's see. And just a little bit more detail to consider going to a little more detail and about the specific grade levels that you reviewed. And and that was pretty good. So everything, and you demonstrated leadership very well. I thought it was very well written, and I think you did a great job. So
Yay.
Awesome.
I feel better.
Let's see if I can hurry up and finish this. Okay. Then I need to share again. Let's see. All right. And then Brittany, you were my second one. And I noticed that, again, your data collection was very good. I remember reading Shakia's post first, and I couldn't agree more. Like, your writing is just so easy to read, and it flows so well. And I hope to write like you as well. Just when I read that, I was like, where's the like button at? Like, I need to.
I know.
But anyway, your criteria process, collaborative data analysis, and most pressing need were also among strengths that I found. You represented your data in a way that you created buy-in with your PLC, which is huge, and that's a huge leadership characteristic as well. Under your collaborative data analysis, you represented your data easy to read through bar graph charts, and you looked at data over the past 3 years, which is strong. And then you were able to identify the most pressing need, but you didn't just identify it. You led your PLC to identify that, and that's another leadership characteristic. And so for the weaknesses, let's see, I said err on the side of caution in presenting that part to teachers. I did the exact same thing though, because mine was driven from my school renewal plan and my strategic plan. And so that was kind of presented to me in the same fashion. But I guess just being in this coaching role, like sometimes if we present it that way, teachers are kind of like, I don't really want to do that because they told me what to do, as opposed to, hey, I came up with this idea, so it's my own. But like I said, I was in the same boat with that. But you made it very difficult to find something to talk about. And then I said the data presented is more than sufficient to lead them in that direction that you wanted. And I'm sure you probably did that anyway. Like I said, I just had to find something that I could write about. And so doing so would further demonstrate strong PLC leadership. But I thought it was written very, very well. Didn't find any errors or anything like that. So great job on that. Keep it rolling into task 5, girl.
I know, right?
I don't take a break now.
It's almost over. It's almost over. Just look at it. And task 5 is so easy. It's just basically the competency.
I'm working on task 4 right now.
Yeah, task 5 is pretty easy. So we're almost there. We're almost there.
So, ladies, does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns before we close out?
When we upload it, don't we have to upload the link, or is one of us uploading the link?
So, from my understanding,
clarification.
I am going to take the videos and post them to my YouTube channel. And then I will share the link to the videos with you guys, and you guys upload them.
That's what I was thinking.
Or put them on the assignment, and so do I. And then he'll watch one of them and give us all the grade.
Okay, that's what I was thinking, but I just wanted to make sure I was on the right track.
Yep.
I just want to tell all y'all, thank y'all so much for the feedback that y'all have given me. I appreciate it.
Yes, it was so helpful.
Yes.
Same here.
I went down line by line, fixing everything, and I love it. So y'all are doing a great job. It's been really
helpful.
And it seems like everybody was all on the same level with everything. It wasn't one that was just completely on the other side. Yes, everybody seemed to be seeing all the same things. So that was good.
Okay, ladies. Well, I will stay in contact through email as we, work on finishing up the task. And then I don't think we have another required Zoom meeting for a little while. So I'll take a look back on our schedule and everything, and I'll just keep in contact through email. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in the future. Thank you for all you do.
Thank you.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, ladies.